Investigative reporter Jeremy Finley found more than 600 Tennesseans have been arrested for DUI and were completely sober.
I'm placing you under arrest for driving under the influence, right?
7 sober drivers charged with DUI arrested by different troopers in different parts of the state.
It's the latest discovery in Chief Investigative Reporter Jeremy Finley's sobering problem investigation.
There's a very distinct odor of alcohol that comes from either a person or inside the vehicle.
Right.
Okay.
I understand, but I on my life, I don't drink.
Imagine getting pulled over on your way home from work and you've had nothing to drink. You're calm, you're polite, and still you end up cuffed and charged with a DUI, then plastered on the internet as a criminal. Welcome to Tennessee, where being sober can apparently get you arrested. Over the past 5 years, more than 600 drivers have been accused of driving under the influence despite blood tests proving otherwise. 2 former troopers now say that they were given quotas for arrests, and those quotas came with overtime incentives. This is the story of how Tennessee managed to criminalize sobriety and how those caught in the middle are fighting back. But let's start at the beginning of all this. From late 2019 to 2023, a certain pattern emerged. The Tennessee Bureau of Investigation started logging hundreds of DUI arrests where no intoxicants were ever found. The problem? Most departments weren't using breathalyzers on the scene, just field tests and observations from officers.
We got anything to drink tonight?
No, sir.
But Gray, like so many other drivers who've spoken with WSMV4 Investigates, wasn't concerned at first.
Well, I'm gonna run you through some the field sobriety test, just make sure you're good to drive and everything, okay?
Oh, yeah. I know I'm not under the influence of anything.
And he thought he performed well until this.
I'm placing you on the list for driving under the influence, okay?
Huh? I don't even drink or anything. That's crazy. I work for a living driving a dump truck, and this is what I do. This is my whole livelihood. I was really afraid about losing my license.
Gray is the latest person we found to be charged with a DUI whose blood work would come back showing he was completely sober. For months, we've been emailing back and forth with the TBI, asking for blood work data that shows just how often it's happening in Tennessee. And it turns out we weren't the only ones asking.
Late 2024, the numbers dropped. After years of quiet complaints, reporters at WSMV and Fox 17 exposed the data. 609 sober DUI arrests across the state. Representative Lowell Russell himself, a former trooper, demands transparency from the TBI, asking them to publicly release toxicology data.
Seen the news stories that you all did.
State Representative Lowell Russell had seen our sobering problems investigations. And after one of his constituents was arrested for a DUI, while he was completely sober, he asked the TBI for the data as well. After months of requests, the TBI finally produced the data. Turns out it wasn't dozens, but more than 600 Tennesseans, 609 to be exact, innocent drivers, totally sober, charged with DUI. For perspective, if all of the sober drivers charged with DUI went to the Ryman, they would take up more than half of the seats in the upper balcony.
May 2023, Governor Bill Lee signs SB 1166 and HB 1274, requiring an annual report showing how many DUI arrests come back clean. On October of 2025, the whistleblowers speak. Former THP officers Ashley Smith and Adam Potts tell WSMV they were given quotas, 100 DUIs a year, with extra overtime for meeting those quotas. By the year's end, at least 22 lawsuits were filed.
State police wrongfully arresting 7 innocent people for a crime they didn't commit. 7 sober drivers charged with DUI arrested by different troopers in different parts of the state.
It's the latest discovery in Chief Investigative Reporter Jeremy Finley's sobering problem investigation.
Go ahead and step on out of the car and we're going to have a conversation, okay?
On the evening of June 23rd, Stephanie Fair was about to find out she was in double trouble.
There's a very distinct odor of alcohol that comes from either a person or inside the vehicle.
Right.
Okay.
I understand, but I on my life, I don't drink alcohol. I just ate.
When he started asking me about drinking, I instantly got this feeling in my stomach, like, this is bad.
And it was. She'd been pulled over for failing to move over, something the state trooper was not pleased about.
A 2024 Tennessee Highway Patrol traffic stop in Giles County quickly devolved into confusion, and now Fox 17 has the body cam video to show what happened.
And I'm sorry, I'm trying to maintain my emotions.
What I need you to do is pull through.
The trooper pulled Labrisha Beatty over for speeding, but she misunderstood his instructions to move her car ahead and kept driving.
Pull over.
Once she pulled over again,
Get out of the car!
the trooper drew his weapon, uncertain if Beatty was evading, keeping it pointed downward in the body cam video.
Turn around.
He ordered her to the ground.
Face away from me.
And it's still hard to relive that whole experience. I'm trying to find the exit. I'm sorry, sir.
The trooper temporarily put Beatty in cuffs. Beatty says she was shaken as the trooper spoke to her near the patrol car.
Are you okay?
I lost my grandmother 2 days ago.
Look, nobody's defending drunk drivers, but this isn't about drunk driving at all. It's about power, unchecked, unmeasured, unaccountable. When officers' performances are based on the arrest numbers, the probable cause stops being about safety and starts being about statistics. Officers say there are no quotas, yet 609 innocent arrests say otherwise. And this brings up the phrase, all cops are bad, or ACAB as it's known. Now, let me be clear about something. I don't agree with that sentiment. It's fallacious, it's lazy. It paints a broad brush that's far, 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 far flung from reality. It's the kind of slogan you hear from internet slacktivists yelling about stuff without any sort of nuance, right? But I get where they come from, because if you watch the body cam of a sober driver saying, "I don't drink," while officer insists otherwise, you kind of get the picture here, right? But let's look at a few of these cases real quick. So you got Roger Lewis, a guy suffering from neuropathy. He's had knee surgeries. The guy told Mount Juliet police officers he couldn't complete a balance test. They made him do it anyway. He was arrested, booked, and guess what? His blood work came back clean, and now he's filed a federal lawsuit for false arrest and malicious prosecution.
I'm not going to be able to do this.
Roger Lewis is now turning his agitation to litigation.
You decided to sue. Why? Because I saw 609 other people on your series that's gone through what I've gone through, and I realized that somebody, starting with the governor up, has got to do something in Tennessee.
WSMV4 Investigates first told you Lewis's story, how despite informing Mount Juliet police officers that he has neuropathy and repeated knee surgeries, he was made to do a field sobriety test while walking and standing on one leg. He was charged with DUI and sent to jail.
I went for almost 6 months that I didn't hardly leave this house.
Is it just the trauma from going through it?
You have no idea. I had to go see a special doctor. I couldn't sleep. I'm still not back to normal.
His blood work would later come back showing no alcohol, and the only drugs in his system was prescribed pain medication. The charges dropped.
Thomas Manis, who ended up getting a $75,000 settlement from the Tennessee Highway Patrol in Monroe County in 2023 because, guess what? His blood work came back clean, no drugs, and no alcohol. The case got dismissed, and he got a nice lump sum.
The body camera footage shows Manis's mother outraged over her son's DUI arrest.
I'm just saying, if you have falsely arrested him, you're going to be in trouble.
Okay, ma'am.
Manis's blood work would later come back with no alcohol and no drugs. He too filed the federal lawsuit, citing unlawful seizure and false arrest. The THP responded in court, denying that Manis's arrest was unlawful. Court records show the case was dismissed this week, and the Tennessee Board of Claims confirms to WSMV4 Investigates they approved a settlement, paying Manis $75,000. Chancey can't discuss the settlement, but he already has a new client, Labrisha Beatty, also suing the THP.
Now, his attorney, Franklin Chancey, represents several plaintiffs against the Tennessee Highway Patrol and local departments. He says it's about vindication, a way for innocent people to show employers, families, and the public, I wasn't guilty. And it's not just the Highway Patrol. Lawsuits now been filed against the police in Clarksville, Laverne, Goddelsville, and other places. Together, they represent over 24 active cases, each with a story of its own and a sober driver being punished for doing nothing wrong.
To say, hey, look, I really wasn't guilty.
WSMV4 Investigates has also confirmed federal lawsuits have been filed against Clarksville and Laverne police from people who were sober at the time they were arrested for DUI. Lewis says it's the only option for innocent people who never get apologies from their arresting officers.
I felt like that somebody needed to hold their feet to the fire and hold them accountable.
That's how trust dies. If Tennessee wants to stop that spiral, it starts with protecting whistleblowers, not punishing them. Let officers speak up when leadership is wrong. Truth isn't lost because people hate authority. It's lost because authority keeps proving it doesn't respect the people it polices. And that disrespect, you'll find it written all over the lawsuits. If leadership had to personally cover the cost of their bad policies, maybe things would change. But as long as the bill gets sent to the taxpayers, all the same mistakes will just keep happening. Tennessee's sober DUI crisis isn't about false arrests. It's about how power protects itself and punishes everyone else. Public safety shouldn't need quotas. Sobriety shouldn't need a lawyer. And trust, once broken, can't be rebuilt by settlement checks. I'm the Commentary King. You can tell me how I'm wrong in the comments, but I don't think anything's going to change until you really start hurting the pockets of these officers. So, I don't know. You let me know.